Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Josh Diamond, and I am playing a best of 3 against Jamie Boyt today, one of Europe's greatest players. He top cut with the World Championships in 2019, got 9th place with a Salazzle Breloom team. So one of the most creative builders and one of Europe's strongest players. And I'm looking forward to having this battle against him. I'm doing some post-commentary today because it was very early when I filmed the footage. So you're going to see some sped-up footage of my games versus Jamie, and I will be telling you the thought process that I was having. So looking at his team, he's got Arboliva, Armarouge, Azumarill, Hydreigon, Magnezone, and Medicham. So I'm thinking he doesn't have any immediate speed control, like a Prankster Tailwind from a Murkrow, for example. I did see that Trick Room option, so I did lead my Dreadnought and my Serena to try to do my U-turn and hit something really hard with a waterfall play. I decide that I'm going to protect my Dreadnought because both of those moves likely will go into it to try to KO it, or at least one of them. So I U-turn, bring out my Pelipper. They did not go for a fake out because of my Queenly Majesty, but unfortunately I didn't take into account that the Hydreigon was going to go for a Tailwind, so my Rain won't keep me faster than them. So this play, I am threatened by both, so I switch out my Dreadnought into Serena, hoping to live a close combat, and Tailwind with my Pelipper to get speed control up for myself. They do Dark Pulse into the Pelipper, taking me down to my Focus Sash. I'm worried that they might double up, but they don't. They go into Serena with the close combat, and I do live. So now I can outspeed in Tailwind with my Choice Scarf and threaten that Hydreigon with the Play Rough. I don't think he knows it's coming yet. And I go for Hurricane in case I live into the Medicham. And they do withdraw, calling that the Hurricane's going to come into that slot, but unfortunately I miss my Play Rough, don't KO the Hydreigon, and he gets a double KO with Heat Wave. So things that miss on Play Rough really makes things really difficult, but you know, that's Play Rough. it does miss infamously. So I'm thinking here my only outs and chance to win the game is to start flinching him. So I go for a Rock Slide and a Brick Break to finish off the Magnezone. And lo and behold, I'm worried about, obviously, that Magnezone sweeping through me. So I do get the flinch onto the Hydreigon and the Brick Break onto the Magnezone as their Tailwind peters out. So here I'm thinking, perfect. I can just Ice Spinner KO the Hydreigon, Brick Break, outspeed, because their Tailwind's out and I have 1 turn left of mine, and unfortunately 1 turn left of Rain. So I can knock out both of these Pokemon with my moves, but then he gets a switch into both of his Pokemon, and my Rain dies out and my Tailwind dies out. So that makes the Medicham able to come back in, as well as their last Pokemon. So we get the information, at least, of everything that he brought to the game, which is good going into Game 2. Still not completely over, depending on what it is. And we do see that it's the Azumarill. So Azumarill Medicham. I'm worried about a fake out this turn from the Medicham. But I do just double into the Medicham. If hoping that whichever one it KOs, I will be able to live. I did think about going for a Terra and a Terra Flying on my King Gambit this turn, but I called it incorrectly, thinking that they were definitely going to close combat my Dreadnought. They do close combat my King Gambit, so the Terra Flying would have been the correct play. Again, very, very difficult choices for me. I got the call wrong, and they go for a Liquidation. So not tearing either of my Pokemon there cost a lot of HP and a potential live on my King Gambit. I know they did Terra Fighting, but the Flying type resisting and King Gambit's huge bulk would have been great. Also, if I just Terra'd Dreadnought there, I would have taken significantly less damage from liquidation. They go for the Aqua Jet, so fortunately me tearing that turn worked out well. And I'm just hoping for Rock Slide flinches, but I do miss my Rock Slide, and they get the Play Rough KO. So I cannot connect my Play Roughs, but Jamie, the better player, can. No shade there. Jamie is an amazing player. There were lots of factors in that first game. You know, the flinch on the Hydreigon from my Rock Slide, the miss from my Play Rough, the miss from his Play Rough. I believe I got a critical hit in there as well. A good game one. We got as much information as we could, and I realized that a lot of my plays by not tearing was too passive. I was going too hard into reading a defensive play from Jamie, like a fake out. Turn 1, going for the Protect on Dreadnought. Very passive. I needed to either commit to Play Rough, KOing the Hydreigon, or going for the U-turn waterfall play into Hydreigon, but me doing neither of those meant that I was in a worse position. So I'm thinking that's what I need to do in Game 2. I need to just commit. I think that there is a higher likelihood, now that they've seen Play Rough, that they won't just leave Hydreigon in here. They can't fake out because of my Queenly Majesty. So I did get this call correctly. They switch out Magnezone. I U-turn into my Pelipper, get my speed, and knock out the Medicham before it moves. A great turn 1 from us. A great call on how Jamie would adjust. And now we're in a pretty good position. We do have this Magnezone up against our 2 water types, so that is looking a bit tricky. Fortunately, we do have the Rain, and we do have our Terra. So I do go for the Terra Waterfall into Magnezone to find out if it's Analytics sturdy. If it's sturdy, it will live, but I believe that is a trade I'm willing to make, because then it will be in range of any attack. So we do go for our Terra. And then I see Jamie goes for his Terra. So I'm wondering, oh, what's the Hydreigon going to be? Like Terra Steel to resist the Hurricane? But it's a Terra Water Magnezone to resist my waterfall damage. So I don't even do half. They go for the Dark Pulse. I get my Tailwind up, but luckily we get the flinch this time onto their Magnezone. So great turn from us. They didn't get any ground out of their Magnezone. So now we just go for the Rock Slide, fish for more flinches on the Hydreigon, and finish off the Magnezone with a Hurricane. Assuming that my Rock Slide connects, that should be super safe. And Hurricane does pick up the KO with a critical hit. Don't think that was necessary. And they finish off my Pelipper with Dark Pulse. It is Life Orb Hydreigon. I don't think I mentioned that before. That's important because it picks up critical KOs on my Pokemon. And it is Azumarill in the back, so I have a safe Ice Spinner into Hydreigon, Trop Kick into Azumarill. Should, if it doesn't pick up the KO, lowering its attack and putting me in a great position to finish the game. Ice Spinner does pick up the Hydreigon, and Trop Kick does get the one-shot on Azumarill with a critical hit. So we don't know if it would have straight up KO'd. And we take game 2. So luckily for us, we get to go into a game 3. And I'm thinking that Jamie definitely switches things up now. So, in my mind, they're not going to lead the same thing. I'm thinking maybe a Trick Room comes out. And so I'm actually leading my Serena Pelipper. This way I can low kick Hurricane into the Medicham or low kick Hurricane into the Hydreigon. Kind of surprise them because I haven't shown the low sweep, my apologies, the low sweep to lower their speed and then knock them out with Pelipper before they can move. So that is also what I was thinking. If they lead Trick Room, this is a better two Pokemon into Armarouge and Arboliva, which I did not expect to come out in the lead. So here, I go for the Hurricane into Armarouge, thinking that it likes to Terra Grass. I'm threatening a big water move. You can see me trying to decide here which one I should go for. I decide to call that they're going to be Terra Grass, and I go for the U-turn Hurricane. Unfortunately, they do not Terra Grass, so I called that incorrectly. I go into King Gambit because it will resist any Arboliva damage that they are likely going for into Serena. They go for the Hyper Voice and reveal the Throat Spray, boosting their special attack. So now I'm very worried that I'm going to get swept, but the Trick Room does not go up because Armarouge hits itself in confusion. I get very lucky there, so I go for the Hurricane into Arboliva here and the Kotao Cleave into Armarouge to pick up the KO. I assume that they won't go for Trick Room this turn, knowing that if they do, their negative priority will allow them to move after my King Gambit. So they do go for a move. Psychic into Pelipper, gets the KO. Another unnecessary critical hit, and the Kotao Cleave does take out the Armarouge. So we've traded 1 for 1. They have a boosted Arboliva. They reveal Giga Drain and the grassy terrain. And so I bring out my Dreadnought here to try to capitalize on the few turns of rain remaining. I figure whatever comes into the opposite slot of Arboliva will take a lot of damage. In hindsight, the Hydreigon coming out here meant that I should have gone into my Serena. But it does... It doesn't really... It just is a mind game on what Pokemon Terras. So, I see the Terra coming out, and it is the Arboliva. Unfortunately, I went for the Kotao Cleave into the Terra Fairy Arboliva, so my Rock Slide does not get the flinch. They Tailwind to outspeed my King Gambit, get the Giga Drain, huge health recovery, and my Kotao Cleave was not an Iron Head. That was a misplay from me, but... obviously, that's a hindsight misplay, but I did want to go for the Iron Head, but I decided to go for the Kotao Cleave because of the little extra damage. Here, I am in a tricky situation, but it's not completely over. I go for the Play Rough, knowing that my Scarf will still allow me to outspeed the Hydreigon, or outspeed the Arboliva, even in their Tailwind. So I Terra Fairy myself, take the Dark Pulse, but I flinch! Unfortunately, I flinch, so I do not get my Play Rough off. The Iron Head does take out the Arboliva, but at this point, it's too late. I needed that Play Rough to connect on to Hydreigon that turn in order to have a solid chance to win this. So now they can safely go for a Dark Pulse and knock me out. And I won't have the 2 versus 1 advantage on the Magnezone that I would have previously had. They go for the Thunderbolt. It does massive damage. I won't live a second one of those with my Assault Vest. Even with the grassy terrain, it just did too much. I'm hoping maybe if that was an extremely high roll and they get an extremely low, I can Brick Break and go for a Sucker Punch. But unfortunately, that is not the case, and Jamie wins Game 3 with that lucky Dark Pulse flinch. But again, that whole set, there was critical hits, there was flinches, there were misses on both sides of the field, and so I cannot be mad. I am very happy that I was able to play this game versus Jamie. Again, very strong player. I will link his channel in the description below. You can go see his side of the battle. And with that, I will leave you and have a wonderful rest of your day.